I did speak to the New South Wales Opposition leader, John Robertson, this morning about the recent extraordinary spate of gun crime and attacks in Sydney. Let's play that for you now.
In fact, what we're seeing in Sydney now is the largest spike in gun crime in more than a decade. We're seeing gang wars being fought out on the streets of Western and southwestern Sydney, and Sydney is down by 242 police officers. So these are criminals and thugs who think they can just run riot.
Do you accept the assurance from the Premier and the police that these attacks are criminal on criminal, that they are targeted attacks?
Well, there are no excuses for doing nothing on this, and my worry is that eventually you get a mistaken identity, someone knocks on the wrong door and an innocent victim is killed. These are all excuses, and there can be no excuses for allowing this to go on, certainly at the level that it is. Yesterday we saw 5 shootings in 5 hours. One house that was targeted had 5 young kids asleep in it. We saw another house that had 3 elderly people in it. These are people who are out of control, and we need to see police resources thrown at this problem so that it's brought to a head.
Well, we did see many more police on the ground last night in the areas which have been hit by these drive-by shootings, these attacks. Do you welcome the fact that it seemed a quieter night, at least in your city?
Well, I welcome the fact that finally the government has acted. We've been calling since January for more police to be thrown at this. The thing that worries me is that had this been occurring somewhere on the North Shore of Sydney, we'd have seen these police on the streets by January, not by the middle of April when we'd seen 5 shootings in 5 hours. But Sydney's still 242 police officers down. In the southwest alone, the local area commands there are down by 90 officers. 100 is great, but we need the police officers out there on the streets. We need cash rewards that leads to the arrest and conviction of these criminals and thugs. And we've been calling for a crisis meeting of law enforcement officers because we've seen a massive escalation this month in the number of shootings that are occurring.
Is the federal government doing enough in your view? Obviously, some responsibility for this has to be taken at a national level. Do you want to see better customs screening, for example?
Well, one of the things that ought to be part of this crisis meeting of law enforcement officers is we ought to be seeing the Commonwealth and the states pull together to resolve this issue. My frustration has been that the state government has been looking to blame someone else rather than take responsibility and address this. We need to see all resources of government thrown at this to bring it to a head, because the people I talk to in Western and southwestern Sydney as I travel around feel very angry and frustrated that the O'Farrell government isn't taking this seriously, and they feel, a lot of them say to me, they just feel like nothing's being done.
New South Wales Opposition leader John Robertson, thanks for giving us a few minutes this morning. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.